Hey there everybody, it's Jonas. I'm in here with another episode of TLT recap and analysis. Having a little bit of a laugh because of GXC's post about having like a video in my style going over the matchups and whatnot, but it was a bit funny. Just a quick announcement, I am now going to be available for relatively quick uploads and whatnot. Been less busy now in the past few, or like my stuff has been starting to clear up, so we'll generally have more time. But let's just go through the matchups, and we'll start with the principal Takas versus Serpentine. I think Pote did a pretty good job in this one. I think he closed it out in 2 games, if I remember correctly. Let's see, yeah. And there were 2 games which were not NU, which is always a good sign to be winning in the tiers that you aren't necessarily locking. However, with him going up against Young, Dumb, and Woke next week, it will be a very tough matchup, which he himself has said that he is not confident in winning. But I generally do think that he has been playing better. I do think he still has a little bit of an ego issue, but as things go on, I'm hoping that he can improve on that, and that'll definitely help him improve as a player. And I don't think that he's necessarily doomed versus Young, Dumb, and Woke, but we'll see. Young, Dumb, and Woke, on the other hand, I believe he also played a 2-game set versus PCD, which I do not remember 100%, but let's just check. Yes, and they were 2 pretty clean games. The UU game he stalled, I remember, and then the LC game was in his favor. He played very clean. I think he said to me that he was very happy because he has managed to get RU and LC in a lot of his matchups, which he has said are his 2 best tiers, and I think he played pretty clean in LC versus me. But I do think that I'll go more into the Young, Dumb, and Woke versus Principal Taco's matchup when we get there later in the match, or later on the predictions, but I think that he has been playing very solid throughout his TLT run so far. Arse9 versus Balor basically went as I expected. Arse9 pretty cleanly took this one. I believe this one was a 2-game set as well, yes. And I think Arse9 has shown that he's a good player and that he has a lot to prove, or he doesn't have that much to prove anymore, that he can be at the top level. But with his matching up against SMB or Plaz next round, I believe, that will be a tough matchup for him, so it'll really depend on how well he performs, as well as SMB and Plaz, who both have other priorities with Snake and whatnot going on. And that match hasn't happened yet. I believe it's still extended and it hasn't happened, so we'll see how that one goes. I still think that I want to see more from Plaz to be able to say that he's a top player, and SMB maybe has kind of that same thing, or not really a top player, but rather like giving the effort to show that he's also a top player, because he obviously has a lot of issues with commitment to tournaments and whatnot, and he sometimes bombs out in TLC because it's such a long form tournament that it requires a lot of prep and whatnot. And now that he's in Snake and he's like starting and playing games in Snake, he doesn't necessarily have the time to do that. Plimsoll Punks beat Lugia Numer in a relatively solid fashion. Poison Adhesive played a very nice set versus Insania. Reginald took a pretty clean games over Tactical Facepalms, and Reginald also, I feel like he could have won all 3 of those games as well. Tactical Facepalms being Casual.exe, and all 3 of those games are very clean. Could have been in Reginald's favor, I think, because in the game he lost in Ubers was, he got kind of hacked in, but there's that. And so he took that one in 3 games, and then PD beat Sotsot, and that one was, I think PD is starting to ramp up. I have been kind of against PD in a lot of these matchups after seeing his pretty poor week 1 performance, but I think he's starting to ramp up. He will be playing against Reginald, and that will be a big test for him, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in the predictions. The PD versus Satsat match came down to I'll see PD won the mid tier, which I don't remember which one it was. I think maybe it was Mono. And then he won LC, and then Satsat won PU, which he's been locking. Now it was doubles. And so it was a win for PD. And so that was about it for last week. I don't really have that much to say. I think that there is some interesting things that could be going on in the losers bracket, but a lot of these players are more so lesser known players or kind of players that we were expecting to be here. We didn't have like a huge upset last week. I think PCD versus Young Woke was a clean, like a hyped up matchup, I guess. And then SMB versus Plaz was one of the big ones that didn't really happen yet. And then Rajnode versus Tactical Face Palms or Casual.exe was another one of those big ones, which was a pretty fun match to watch. And Lugia Nimir didn't decide to, or like didn't actually manage to beat Plumsopunk. So I think that while losers, a lot of these names are kind of the ones coming into this tournament that we expected to be dropping out around this time. So with the exception of like maybe PD versus Shotshot, most of the other matches are relatively expected results. But this week we have a few interesting players still left in winners. So while I think 6 of these 8 names we kind of expected, at least GXC, myself, Ham, and Frisso, as well as Nat, were pretty much expected to be here. And then I don't think anyone would really be surprised to see Jaren here. But the other 2 people, Sifikon, who has been a huge surprise for me this tournament, as well as Bandrizzle Lol, which is the Hangwanese Showdown ult, have both showed up. Although I have like seen good things from Bandrizzle Lol just by playing against him during qualifications and whatnot. So I do think that he has a lot of potential to win or go far. And he'll be playing against Jaren. It's really hard for me to judge because Jaren has always been underrated by me because I think he doesn't have like that kind of main tier that he's really dominant in. He's just been a consistent player. And you know, he's mostly been focused on OMs and stuff, but he has been actually very dominant in like a lot of towards room ladder tournaments and whatnot, or like not tournaments, but like ladder, like the towards room leaderboards and stuff. So that's where he's really been able to show off like what kind of consistency he has. And then he's going to be playing against Vandrizzle, who's still to me more of like an unknown quantity. He hasn't played up against a lot of like the super top players, I think. Let's see, actually should be a bracket around here. Well, okay, that's fine. I guess the bracket's not in the thread, but that's fine. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm going to favor Jaren slightly. I think he has more of that experience in tours, which definitely does come into handy, especially with the prep work. And I think Jaren has a lot of experience with this kind of stuff, and I think he's going to be slightly favored. And in my eyes, it's more on Bandrizzle to really prove himself to me than it is for Jaren, who's a relatively proven commodity. And if Bandrizzle can't overcome Jaren, I'll see him more as a proven commodity moving forward. And then Frisso versus GXC, I really struggle to see where GXC can really find his advantage versus Frisso. I see GXC as like one of those top players in my eyes, and that he's been kind of underrated in the general public's eye. And he will likely lock Ubers versus Frisso, but I don't really see where he gets a huge advantage. Where I don't even think he's better than Ubers than Frisso. Maybe he locks PU. I don't know. He might be better at PU than Frisso, but you know, Frisso is going to get the advantage in like doubles or LC, and then whatever other tier he's going to be a favorite in as well. So or OU even if he decides to lock that. But I think Fristo really is going to be even more of a threat going forward because this will be the last round of winners where it's best of 3. So in 2 rounds, starting round 6, it's going to be best of 5. And then best of 5 is going to favor the players who are even more well-rounded, like Fristo, Ham, and myself, in my opinion, are like the players that will really get more of an advantage from being in best of 5. The players who get hurt the most are the ones who really need to specialize in that one tier, and they get like a huge advantage in the one tier versus getting an advantage in like the other 3 or whatever tiers that you're going to be playing other than your lock tier in the best of 5 series. But I'll favor Fristo in this one, and I expect it to be something like Ubers or PU, and then like probably the mid tier is going to be like RU or something like that. I'll favor Fristo in this one. Nat versus Sificon. I think Nat is pretty heavily favored here. Nat is definitely one of the better players in this tournament. She was ranked 3rd overall by the MJ panel, which included like MJ, Ham, and Rizzy, which I think is completely fair. I would definitely say she's within like the top 5 or whatever favorites to win, and still in a good spot, and going to be playing Sificon, who I don't really see as that top commodity. Although he's gone this far, which is like pretty impressive and overperformance in my eyes, I still don't think that he matches up to Nat, who is going to definitely take RU and will probably be favored in the other 2 tiers as well, which will probably be something like, LC and, NU or something like that would be my guess. Something along those lines, and I would say Nat is still favored in those tiers, even with the locked tier in account. And it'll be interesting to see how Nat plays up against other players who are like me and Ham, the winner of me and Ham in the best of 5 series. If she does win, which I do think she's very favored to, like probably 70-30 or better. And then myself versus Ham is going to be a very fun match. I think this one is going to be probably like the best match of this round. And we're going to be playing doubles, RU, and LC, which in terms of the tier spread, it's really, I think, going to come down to the LC match. Whoever wins that is probably going to win the series. I expect that the lock tiers are probably going to go to whoever locks them. But, you never know. Like, there's a lot of variables that go into it, but I do think it's going to be very fun to watch. The only thing is that me and Ham tend to have very hacksy sets. Sometimes it goes my way, sometimes it goes his way. Last time it went my way when we played UU Open, but it's definitely always fun, and would have been nice if we met a little bit later in bracket, but me and Ham definitely have a pretty rich history of playing each other in tournaments, so definitely going to be enjoyable for me. And then moving to losers, Young Dumb and Woke versus Principal Tacos, and I did say earlier that Principal Tacos, has told me that he doesn't feel favored versus Young Dumb and Woke, and I kind of agree with that sentiment as well, and I believe the tiers are RU, NU, and LC. And I would say that Young Dumb and Woke is probably going to take this in the RU and LC matches, probably whatever 2 or 3 games, depends on what order the tiers are going to be played in. So I definitely will say that Principal Tacos definitely has a chance, though. He just needs to take one of the other 2 games, because I do think that his NU is much better than Young Dumb and Woke, so maybe he has a chance in one of the other 2 games, though. I'm not too sure how good his other tiers are. Arsenine versus SMB, the winner of SMB Plaz is definitely going to be very interesting. It's going to be a big test for Arsenine to be able to see how he plays up against these 2 top players. I still think that SMB is going to be favored in the SMB Plaz matchup because of the fact that Plaz is probably not going to be trying as hard. But if whoever comes out of that is definitely going to be a huge menace in the losers bracket. I would say either player who wins will be favored versus Arsenine, but it will definitely be close, and I definitely think it's going to be interesting. Plumso Punks versus Poison Adhesive is our next match. Also, like a pretty good match. I would say Plumso Punks is favored slightly. Um, Poison Adhesive still hasn't, like, while he's had some solid wins and whatnot, I still think that some of his team selection is still a little bit questionable, especially in like Ubers and some other teams I've seen him play. And I could see him definitely dropping games to Flimso Punks just even in his locked tier. I just don't think that he's at that level. Coming into this tournament, I still had a few question marks about him regarding his play and whatnot, and a lot of those have only like a lot of his play has only like confirmed my suspicions about what he's going to struggle with a lot of the time. So while I think he's like generally a solid player, like moving forward in this tournament, like we're basically only left with like good players at this point. There's like only one or two players left in the tournament who I think like aren't super solid, and that I wouldn't really like consider like very good players in their own right. So I would say Plumswell Punks is definitely favored in this one. And then Reginald versus PD. If PD continues to play as he has been against Sai and some of his other competition, I definitely think that he should be able to take this one. I think PD is a really good player, and a lot of my concerns have been around his prep, team building, and also his like some of his plays regarding like unfamiliarity with tiers has been showing. I don't think that that will give him a lot of issues versus Reginald though, and if he continues to play as he has in the past few rounds, I definitely can see him taking this one over Reginald. Reginald, on the other hand, has also been ramping up and has been playing better and better in the past few rounds. So definitely be interesting to see this one, just how it plays out. But I will be favoring PD on this one, and it's only going to be like a slight favorite though, like 55, 45 probably, something like that. Overall, though, like I said, I am really looking forward to these TLT matches because a lot of them are really high caliber matches. I think with the exception of really like Sifikon Nat, I could see either player in all of these matches really like step up and take the victory. Like I could see Hangwani beating Jaren. I could see GXC beating Frisso if he plays well on the day. I could see myself losing to him. I could see myself winning against him. I could see Young Dumb and Woke losing to Prince of All Tacos. I could see, you know, Arsenine upsetting either SMB or Plaz. I could see Poison Defeasive winning against Plumswell Punks, and I could see either player winning the last match either as well. So, um, like just a huge set of very, very interesting games. I guess if Cificon does manage to pull off the upset, that would really be the only thing that could really surprise me. But like, I'm definitely looking forward to this round of matches because I think all of these players are really good and or like give us like a large set of close matches, which is always the most entertaining to watch in my opinion because like the close ones are the ones that give you those 3 game sets that give you like the close moments and can prove which players are better under pressure and whatnot. And it's only round 4 too, which is insane to me. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, then leave a like, and if you didn't, then I guess just I don't know why you're watching, honestly. So I'll see you guys next week for another TLT recap and analysis, and that's it.